Hello, and welcome. Welcome, my friends, to me, Mom, and Dad. It is 2025 and Merry Christmas. It is almost Christmas, almost Christmas Eve. And we're going to be ending a year and starting a new year, and we are grateful. Those of you who are just joining me, Mom and Dad, we are welcome you. We started this podcast years ago. Me, my mom and dad, literally, and my mom and dad are on some previous episodes. We were sharing with the Parkinsons community the positive things we learned about Parkinson's. So I'll talk to the Parkinson's community after we share some recipes. We started sharing recipes to keep my dad's spirits up, and Christmas time, holiday time is the best time that we started sharing these recipes because family would gather around and just keep my dad's spirits up, up, up. And so my brother and sister and my mom, of course, she got us cooking. We're pretty good cooks, we must say ourselves. And so that's how we cooking brings friends and family together. And so on the Me, Mom, and Dad podcast, we started sharing recipes, shooting the breeze in the kitchen with my siblings and my friends. So let's share some recipes since it is Christmas and holidays. I always like to share the favorite ones every year. So I'll share again the homemade cranberry sauce. It's easy. Once you have cranberry sauce homemade, you don't want to go back to the can. So let's do it. It's very easy. You buy that bag of cranberries. I usually stick with the ocean spray bag. And usually the recipe is on the back of the bag. But it is one bag of the cranberries. You need 1 cup of water. So you take a big saucepan and put 1 cup of butter in the pan. I mean, sorry, not butter. Ugh. Sorry, I'm all full of crazy Christmassy. I meant water. 1 cup of water in your saucepan. And then you pour the bag of cranberries in the water and turn it on medium heat. And after a couple minutes, you will hear the cranberries pop. You'll literally see them pop, 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 pop. When they start popping, the recipe says 1 cup of sugar. Once you'll see them popping, you take a spoon, and I usually like to use a wooden spoon. I don't know why. I like the wooden spoon doing it. You start stirring the popping cranberries. You'll see them bursting open. And you start stirring and you put your 1 cup of sugar. Now, I'll be very honest with you. It says 1 cup of sugar. I usually use a little more than 1 cup. Maybe I ain't gonna lie to you. My family likes it sweet, so I'll probably go 2 cups of sugar. But depending on your taste, some people don't like that much sugar. They like it a little more cranberry sourishy. But I use about 2 cups of sugar, and I pour the sugar in there while the cranberries are bursting, and you just start stirring while it's still on the medium heat. And you're gonna stir about 15 minutes. The longer you let it boil up, the thicker the cranberries will get. And I do put some vanilla in there. 1 or 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Now, some people like to add other flavors, orange and other orange, lemon. My family just like some vanilla, but you can add the orange flavoring, orange zest. We just like a straight up sugary cranberry taste. and you let it keep boiling up, and you'll see it getting thicker. Don't let it burn. Keep stirring, and then take it off the heat, the pan, and let it sit to temper down. And once it's cooled down, pour it in a container and put it in the refrigerator, and it'll get thicker, and it's so good. So good. Homemade cranberry sauce. I always share every year because you got family there. We have family here. My family's here now. I always share the homemade pancakes. Homemade pancakes. Hot cakes. You will need 1 cup of sifted flour, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. You need some melted butter, about a half stick of melted butter, 1 cup of milk. Sometimes we use buttermilk. Buttermilk, sorry. 1 cup of buttermilk, 1 egg, 2 tablespoons of the melted butter, or you may use shortener. We use butter. Sift together dry ingredients. That's your flour. Beat egg and milk, buttermilk together. Beat the egg and the milk together. Buttermilk and egg together. Mix into the dry ingredients. Add your wait a second. Add your back up. You're gonna need the little bit of melted butter, because you're gonna use that for the grill. So you need the you need the 2 tablespoons of melted butter. You're gonna pour that into your egg and milk and flour mixture. Mix briskly. Pour about 5 tablespoons of batter onto the grill. So you're going to take that little bit of melted butter that you have to the side, put that on the grill to melt. Then you pour about your tablespoons of batter onto the grill. How many tablespoons of batter would I do? I would do 2 tablespoons of the batter, and you'll see it spread onto the hot grill and melted butter. And when you start to see the batter bubbling up, that's when you flip your pancake. These are really good homemade pancakes. Also, what we're doing this year, we like to go visit Cracker Barrel, especially around Christmas time. You do, don't you? Because they have all the Christmassy stuff in there. Well, you know that hash brown casserole? It's so good. I have the recipe, friends. And it tastes just like Cracker Barrels. So you turn your oven on 350. You need a 9 by 13 casserole pan. Spray the casserole pan. I spray it lightly. The recipe doesn't say do that, but I do it so nothing sticks. 1 can of cream of chicken soup. That's what it is. A fourth cup of melted butter. 2 cups of Colby Jack shredded cheese. That's an 8-ounce block. Half onion diced. Salt, pepper. Mix. So you take your casserole pan, pour your cream of chicken soup in there, the whole can. Then you pour your melted butter in on top of that cream of chicken. Mix together. Then you pour your 2 cups of Colby Jack cheese. It's Colby Jack. It's got to be Colby Jack. That's why it tastes just like Cracker Barrels. Colby Jack cheese. Mix all that together. Start mixing. Butter, the cream of chicken soup. Then you pour your half onion diced in there. A pinch of salt and pepper. Mix well. Pour it into your casserole dish. And what I do is I take some gloves and I mix it up with my hands all around up in there so it gets in there. Then spread it nicely. Don't mash, but just spread once you mix it good. All the ingredients. Spread the all the potato. Oh, sorry. The I'm this dippy today. Uh you need the frozen hash brown potatoes, thawed. I apologize. I haven't been drinking, but I'm all dippy today. Yeah, on top of your cream of chicken and your melted butter, you need this just that hash brown bag that you buy in Kroger's and Publix. You want to thaw that shredded hash brown. Just let it thaw out, and you put the potatoes on top of all the cream of chicken and all that. Then you take your hands and mix all together. It's about a 2 pound bag that you would need for that longer casserole dish. And you just spread with a spatula or a spoon, spread very nicely in your casserole dish and cook 350 degrees until you see the top getting brown. You're welcome. And salt and pepper to taste. Be careful with the salt because the cream of chicken is already pretty salty. You're welcome, friends. Those recipes for the holidays. Like I said, we have family here. My dad passed away about 4 years ago, and we started this podcast sharing with the Parkinson's community the positive things we learned. And one of the biggest positive things was having family and friends around, especially the holidays. And his face would light up, and that's how we conquered one of the symptoms of Parkinson's can be depression, but we just kept family around and cooking, and he would eat and laugh, and we'd be cooking and shooting the breeze with my siblings and friends. And that's when we started sharing the recipes. We also share the humor and joy and kept him laughing. And with all the challenges of Parkinson's, that's how we started this podcast. Also, my Parkinson's friends, we shout from the rooftop to continue to with the medication my dad was on. Parkinson's medication was cortidopa levodopa. We call it the yellow pill. You guys know. And that was, we had a regimen that we found out was giving him that cortidopa levodopa on an empty stomach. So we would give it to him before his meals, like 2 hours before he'd eat. We start his day at 5 a.m. We wake him up at 5 a.m., give him his pill before breakfast. And that's how he did better. Before we discovered how important it was to take the cortidopa levodopa on an empty stomach, it was challenging. He was almost crippled, could barely walk. And through the doctors and the nurses, we're like, oh, okay, we hear you. It's got to be on an empty stomach. So, and we shout from the rooftops that exercise was the key for my dad. My dad was in his 80s when he passed away, when he had Parkinson's, but most friends didn't even realize he had Parkinson's most days because he worked out. He would go to the Y and he would get on that stationary bike and walked. We walked in the park. We have previous episodes of us walking in the park. And he would go to the Y, ride the bike, do some machines. It's challenging, but it is the key to pushing through the Parkinson's medication, Parkinson's uh, challenges, symptoms. So get up and start walking. As I said, my dad is in heaven looking down on us now, and my mom is 89, and we to this day still, we're not the best folks of going to the gym, but we do move our bodies and uh, walking and riding the stationary bike that we still have in the garage that I bought for my dad when he didn't go to the Y. He would ride that in the garage. So get moving, friends. It's challenging to start, but that's the key to pushing through the Parkinson's symptoms. Taking the medication on an empty stomach 2 hours before. And then lunchtime, we'd wait 2 hours before he'd eat lunch, and we gave him his pill 2 hours before lunch and 2 hours before dinner. And most days, as I said, there were challenging days too, but most times, uh, that's what we did. We discovered that that was the key. Exercise and taking the quarter dopa levodopa on an empty stomach. And all the different things we would share every episode. So let's do this. 2026 is coming, friends. So let's do this. I miss the physical part of my dad, but I feel his spirit. Well, we're looking down on us. As I said, my sister at this moment, my brother, my sister, and my mom and friends are here for Christmas at the moment. And that's how we keep our spirits up and keep our joy and keep laughing at our crazy selves. And we are crazy. To my Parkinson's friends, and please subscribe to the podcast. When you are looking at when you're listening now, you look up at the podcast page, you look up at the top, and you see a Wi-Fi looking icon. You click that, and that is where you will subscribe. Please subscribe. We don't have millions of listeners, but we enjoy doing the podcast, and we're thankful for the listeners that we do have. We hope you enjoy the recipes, getting together with your family, making those pancakes, cranberry sauce, hash brown casserole. What are you going to cook? My mom wanted fried turkey this year. We don't fry it. My brother used to fry it up, but we have a wonderful butcher down the street, not too far from us, and they fry up some turkeys. So we've already picked up our turkey, and they give you the directions on how to heat it back up, and we've had it before, and it's delicious. So we'll be having the turkey. I'll be doing the mac and cheese. I can hear you all saying now, share the mac and cheese recipe. I'll just tell you this. I'll use smoked Gouda, shredded smoked Gouda, smoked Gouda, Gruyere cheese, and mozzarella cheese. And the butcher down the street where we get the turkey, they have the big chunk of old-fashioned looking extra sharp cheddar cheese. So those are the three cheeses that knock it out the park for me. And I was doing it different ways through the years. I would boil up my macaroni and pour the macaroni in the pan, and I pour my melted butter in there. And I used to just pour all the cheeses on top of the macaroni and just let it melt as it cooks. But lately I have been making a roux. What's a roux? So I get a saucepan, put a half stick of butter, a little more than half stick, let it melt, Put like a tablespoon of flour once the butter melts, and whisk the butter and the flour. That's the roux. And that butter and flour gets thick. And then I start pouring my Gouda cheese in there. And I pour my half and half in on top of the cheeses. You can pour the milk on top of the butter and the flour. But once you put your cheeses in, you got to have some milk too. Start letting it melt. And I use a can of evaporated milk. I pour the evaporated milk on top of the macaroni that's in the pan. And I sprinkle kosher salt on top of the macaroni. I come back to my saucepan while my cheeses are melting. So I pour my Gouda cheese, my Gruyere cheese, and I save half of my sharp cheddar cheese, the orangey cheese. I save half of that, and I pour half on top of in the saucepan. Let it melt. Pour a little more half and half in there. You'll see the cheese melting so nice. It looks so good. You want to pour it in your mouth and shovel it in like you're drinking a Coke. So good. So you'll see the cheese melting. I pour some more half and half maybe to let it get. I don't want it too thick. I want it kind of medium, the cheese mixture. And I pour that mixture on top of the macaroni and evaporated milk. So you got the mac and cheese. I wasn't even planning on giving you the mac and cheese recipe. There you go. And then I take the sharp cheddar cheese that I have saved. Once I poured the cheese on top of the macaroni, I like to pour the saved cheddar cheese on top of the macaroni and cheese. So it's topped with the sharp cheddar cheese. And it melts nice. I take butter and I dot little dots around the macaroni mixture. So it's like dotted with butter around the casserole. And so that butter melts and it makes the cheese really bubbly. Put it in the oven on 350. It'll cook for like 35, 45 minutes. You'll look at it once you see it getting brown after 35, 40 minutes. You're welcome. I wasn't even planning on giving you that. You got the macaroni and cheese. You guys have a Merry, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And with God's will, we will talk and have more podcasts in 2026. Have a Merry, Merry Christmas, my friends. Please subscribe to our podcast. Enjoy the recipes and enjoy the music.